I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So this week, we had NXT Vengeance Day. Because what better way to play off Valentine's Day than vengeance? Let's get into it. The opening match for the NXT North American Championship, Wes Lee defended his title against Dijak. As expected, Dijak dominated most of the match. But that's not to say that Lee didn't get any offense at all. He got in plenty. And it got to the point that Dijak trapped Lee into a chair and was gonna hit a moonsault on him, but Stax and Tony D'Angelo came out, pushed him out of the way, and ended up taking the moonsault themselves. And that was enough of a distraction to Dijak for Lee to get his Pele kick on him, get the pin, and retain his North American Championship. The match itself was okay, but I was kind of hoping that Dijak would win the title. I felt he should have at least been the North American Champion during his first run in NXT. And as far as Lee goes, he's good, but he's just a spot fest kind of wrestler. So, really, I could only give this one a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Second match for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. The rivals Kiana James and Fallon Henley teamed up against Kaden Carter and Katana Chase. I gotta say this, I didn't expect to get really into this match because there really wasn't that much build-up. Leading up to this, there was no rivalry between the two teams. There was actually only a rivalry between two members in one team, the Challengers. Kiana James and Fallon Henley. They've been feuding for a while. But, I don't know, where they decided to team up and go after the tag team titles, so I kind of figured it was going to be a throwaway tag team match. But this was a damn good tag team match. Like, Kiana James and Fallon Henley, they had some great chemistry in this match as a tag team. And honestly, the clash was kind of cool of a tag team consisting of a face and a heel, which was evident when Fallon Henley got the roll-up, and on the outside, out of bounds, Kiana James held down Kaden Carter's feet, enabling James and Henley to get the win and become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. And I will say this, hopefully this is going to lead to a rivalry between Chase and Carter, because honestly, their tag team run wasn't that great. Mainly because they didn't have any real rivalries, except for the team they won the titles from, Toxic Attraction. But otherwise, it hasn't been that thrilling of a tag team run, but we'll see where it goes from here. But as far as this match, easily got a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then came, in my opinion, the match of the night. A 2 out of 3 falls match between Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews. Decided to make it 2 out of 3 falls because each one has a victory over each other already, and both of them are desperately trying to be number one contender for the NXT Championship. This match, though, was freaking awesome. It was so crazy, so much back and forth going on, so much storytelling, that we honestly didn't know who was going to win this one. Even Trick Williams didn't know. But Carmelo Hayes was the one who got the first fall with a crossface onto Apollo Crews. Then after that, Trick Williams kept getting involved, so Damargado, formerly Commander Aziz, came out to help Apollo Crews, his former Nigerian prince. That whole thing I'm glad ended. But Damargado did not help very much, as Carmelo Hayes ended up getting the nothing but net onto Apollo Crews, getting the second and final fall, winning the match. In a very rare move where they actually did a 2 out of 3 falls match where it went 2-0. Like I said, it was awesome, and it solidified that Carmelo Hayes is the number one contender, and honestly, I'm very excited about that. In my opinion, Carmelo Hayes is not only the top heel in NXT, he's the top wrestler in NXT. It's about time he stops focusing on the North American Championship and goes after the championship. I see a big, big future for this guy. I honestly see him be one of the top guys when he gets to the main roster. And again, matching with Apollo Crews, you knew this was going to be a great match. 5 out of 5. Yeah! And then after the match, as we kind of predicted the moment he came out, Damargado beat up Apollo Crews. Then a 4-way for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Chase U versus Pretty Deadly versus Gallus versus The New Day. This match was good, but it was a little too chaotic. Like I've talked about, chaos can be good in a match, but when there's too much, it makes it hard to follow, which was the problem I had with this match. It was a little bit hard to follow. I kept getting lost. But there were some cool moments, like Gallus putting Duke Hudson through the announce table, and it definitely ended the way I was hoping for, with Gallus becoming the NXT Tag Team Champions. Honestly, New Day, I like them, but they need to stick to the main roster. I'm not a big fan of Pretty Deadly, and the whole Chase U tag team, I don't think they work as a tag team. Gallus, on the other hand, in my opinion, is a great faction, and I'm excited that they're the NXT Tag Team Champions, and hopefully Joe Coffey will be getting a singles title in the future. But for right now, this one, Again, with the chaos, I had to take away a little bit, but still would give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then a triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship, as the members of Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne, challenged Roxanne Perez. It was good, but it was very predictable. Like, you pretty much figured exactly how it was going to go from the moment it was announced. That it was going to start as like a handicap match on Roxanne Perez, but eventually, Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne were going to turn on each other because only one of them can be the champion. Although, I will say I was a little worried they were going to end up doing that like cool thing where they were co-champions. I hated that. That was so stupid. And then it ended when Roxanne Perez was able to put Gigi Dolan through a table and get a super pop rocks onto Jacy Jayne and get the pin, retaining her NXT Women's Championship. Like I said, the match was good, but just again, way too predictable. But I'll still give it a very good, solid 3 out of 5. Yeah! And then, a cage match for the NXT Championship. Grayson Waller challenging Braun Breaker. Because their last match ended when a rope broke and Grayson Waller fell out of the ring and couldn't get back in the ring before the 10 count, so they can't get out of the ring. In fact, that was even a stipulation that they weren't going to win by getting out of the cage. They were only going to win by pin or submission in the ring. And it's weird to say this for a cage match, but the match was just pretty standard. Which is my issue with Braun Breaker. Is every match he has is pretty standard. I mean, the only really thing that wasn't standard in this match is when he did a superplex off the cage. But ultimately, it was just another Braun Breaker match. And then after that, he got a spear onto Grayson Waller, because apparently that's his finisher now. Is he's just another big guy doing a spear, and got the pin, retaining his NXT Championship. Although afterwards, Carmelo Hayes did come out, stare him down a bit. Hopefully he loses that title to Hayes soon. This match, because of the cage match element, I would barely give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! So NXT Vengeance Day overall was pretty good. Wasn't great, but it was pretty good. Out of the 6 matches, half were 3s, 1 was a 5, and 2 were 4s. However, this is one of the issues I'm having with the NXT events lately, is they're not ending on big notes, because they're always ending with a standard match with Braun Breaker. And I hate to say that, because I do like Braun Breaker, I just don't think he's as good as NXT is pushing down our throats. They are really, really trying to force us to love the guy and say he's like such a top guy, when really he's just a big dude with a couple of moves. I hate to say it, but he's basically as one-dimensional as Goldberg. And now his finisher is just a spear, which, how many big guys are we going to have doing spears? That honestly at this point to me would be like a new wrestler coming out and their finisher is the super kick. It's been done too much. So it's just down to that now even his finisher is standard. Before, when his finisher was a Gorilla Press Power Slam, at least that was a little bit more interesting. What really put this event over, in my opinion, was the Carmelo Hayes-Apollo Crews match. Mainly because of how it ended with Carmelo Hayes being the #1 contender. Which, again, is what I really want. In my opinion, you can keep trying to force Braun Breaker on us as much as you want, but the real top guy in NXT is Carmelo Hayes. Whether it's in the ring or on the mic, he is just insanely talented, and I really hope that he is the next NXT champion, because it's long overdue at this point. But focusing on the event itself, like I said, mostly it was okay, some really good matches, but I will say, as far as an event itself, it wasn't enough to get to a 4, but a very good, very solid 3 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like. Hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of NXT Vengeance Day. Love you guys.